Let's go ahead and change gears here a little bit because one thing that I think a lot of people are not familiar with is the fact that you are a very acclaimed Darth Vader performer or cosplayer, right? What do you prefer being? I don't. I think it's more than just cosplay for you. You know, what do
I
you
don't
prefer?
even know at this point, like, because it's like, I know a lot of guys like go by costumer. They don't like to say
Costumer.
cosplayer, but I'm like costumer, cosplayer, like, it's the same thing.
Right, but you're also up here doing charities, doing performance work, a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, entertainers, yeah, I get it. So how long have you been doing the Darth Vader costuming?
God, probably like, ooh, coming up on little over like 10, 11 years now.
Wow. Wow. And
Literally
there's
after I met you is when I started doing all this.
I remember, yeah. Yeah, I remember. And I remember the one story you mentioned a long time ago. I never forgot. Could you tell us a little bit about that one time you you were eliminated from working at Disneyland as Darth
Oh
Vader?
God.
And the reason is crazy to me. But yeah, so if you could tell us a little bit of that story.
I want to say this was 2014, 2015. I was doing work for Lucasfilm at the time. I was shooting. I can talk about it now. So I used to shoot commercials with and for them. Like I remember I flew up to San Francisco to do a Santa Cruz skateboard commercial. And like, I had been working with them off and on. They like it was like contract work. And then I think a friend told me like, hey, they're hiring for Darth Vader at Disneyland. And I'm like, like I have a normal job and then I do this for fun. Might as well I could do it at Disneyland, like, for a pass. It's like free pass. You work as Darth Vader and that's your entry in the park. So I go to audition and they were like, oh, you are perfect, but you're an inch too short to be. I was like, wait, what? Like, What does that mean? Because they wanted, I'm 6'3", and they wanted everybody like 6'4" or and up to be like Vader. So they wanted like super tall, imposing Vaders. But the thing is, they went back on that a little while afterwards because the super tall Vaders were too imposing. Like they scared the kids, so they scaled it down to guys that were like 6'3" and kind of up. Six
Wait,
three is
did you need to be you needed to be exactly 6'4" or you needed to be 6'4" and up? Like,
I think it was 6'4" and up at the time.
wow. That is crazy. 1 inch, literally 1 inch. Like
Hmm.
they didn't want to use lifts or anything. That's what is more
No.
crazy to me. Yeah. Is the fact that they didn't even want to give you an inch, literally an inch of a heel lift. Like nobody would ever know. Like that's what's crazy to me. Yeah.
But they changed it like a month or two later. They called everybody back and they're like, hey, can we get because that's like somebody one of the costume people said it was kind of hard finding people that are that tall that could be in a costume or that weren't scary. So they called us back and me and a couple guys got the job.
That's awesome. So you actually ended up getting it anyway. So there, yeah. Because I just remembered when you posted that, I'm like, are you 1 inch? Seriously, 1 inch like that? Like I
I
got
just thought it
yeah.
was more weird the fact that like I was working for the company and then they didn't wouldn't let me do this. Like it was like, okay, you're good for that, but not this.
I mean, well, as you know, like, look, working for Lucas is very different than working for Disney. Like, yeah, it's kind of all in the same, but yeah, they got a little bit of different regulations for every little thing. So that's so funny, though. Yeah, because
I think at the time it was probably more. I think at the time like they were so still like pretty separate, and now
yeah,
it's just all one thing. It's Disney. It's just Disney Star Wars now.
Oh, I kind of see what you're saying, because that was one of the biggest arguments about the VFX with Ant-Man versus Star Wars. Anything in the Mandalorian is like, why, like, regardless of the story or the storytelling with the Mandalorian, if you love it or hate it, you cannot deny that some of that stuff every scene looked amazing. That one
Mm-hmm.
episode with Jack Black, I mean, I'm like, yo, give Bryce Dallas Howard a job. Give her a movie, because just based on the scenery alone, this looks like Star Wars versus, arguably Ant-Man and the Wasp or Thor Love and Thunder and things like that. But they were just saying how Lucas is really has their own sort of studio, like they do everything in-house, so to speak. Still, yes, funded by Disney, but still in-house by Lucas, whereas
ILM is like the top,
yeah.
special effects house. So it's just anything they touch.
But you see, the stuff coming through Marvel is like 3 times more houses being outsourced for everything. So there's something to be said about that. But it's also, Marvel's still a baby when it comes to this kind of world. So I get it. All right, so we talked about the Darth Vader stuff. We talked about your time in Mandalore and things like that.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
One more thing about I was going to tell you one more thing about the scene and getting the job and all that. Grogu, Grogu and IG-11, like that was a whole puppet walking around.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wait. IG-11 was also a puppet? Like,
The whole thing was a life-size puppet that was on set, like walking around.
so wait, so there was somebody behind it in like a green chroma key suit, like
Yeah, it was a
puppeteering
dude
it?
behind. It was a dude behind it in a like a suit. He was like 2 feet away from it, but every time he walked, the robot walked.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. That's actually really
But it was
cool
the
too.
freakiest thing ever because he'd get tired and walk off set to go get some water, and then IG-11 would just walk off to go get water, and it's just like what? With Grogu just like like no, no, yes, no,
Oh,
yeah.
I get it. Yes. So what about well, I guess when you were on set, yeah, Grogu never left IG-11's
No, he
corpse.
was just
So
in
yeah,
the
he
thing.
was
So that was
inside it,
like,
yeah.
and it's like I yeah, I had no context of what was happening. I didn't know he was getting. It was just okay. I'm in the scene with everybody, and what the hell, IG-11 with Grogu in his chest, like like Krang.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Was it vocalized? The whole no was like,
No, I didn't do it, but he was pressing. The buttons were in there. Like he had like legit like two buttons that he's
yeah.
just like
Because yeah, that's also true. Like just so that's right. So we didn't actually give a full count. So you were in the scene with dismounting, landing onto Mandalore with Paz Vizsla leading the charge, doing the searching the land. You were also in the ceremonial scene where they reignited
hmm
Mandalore as well. And then you also mentioned that you were also included in the boat scene as well. um uh Parts of those scenes on the boat, when they were playing that game, and then the two factions break out, or the two leaders of the factions break out into a fight, so to speak. So
yeah,
um
they used my digital double for that.
right, right, they use your digital double when you jumped out of the plane and everything, right? And was there anything else that stood out, that maybe even if it was deleted or so, like, that you can
Um,
think of?
well, I mean, like I said, there was a lot of scenes of us walking on Mandalore, like just walking across. It was at the time they told it was ice, but it was glass. So we're just walking, and then they have like a lot of dialogue, but I guess they cut all that out.
Oh wow. Between kind of pirates or the survivor Mandalorians.
Uh, no, between like Mando and the armorer, like they actually had dialogue, but you couldn't hear them because they're like muffled under the helmets.
That's even
But they're
more
doing the
interesting.
lines, and it's like they're doing it, but it's just like for Mandalore.
That is wild. So I'm assuming that the later they have to go into ADR, and well, the armorer lady has to go into ADR, and then
Hmm.
Pedro will not phone it in, but he's got to just go in there and record it, and they just kind of they reshadow those lines to match
Yeah.
said performance. That's so interesting. Wow. And they're wearing the COVID masks on top of that.
Yeah,
So
we're everybody's wearing a COVID mask underneath that. So it's like,
yeah,
remember I took my helmet off and like Katie Sackhoff was like, I like your Star Wars mask.
what Star Wars what? Oh, the Star Wars. Got it,
I
got it,
had like
got it,
a
got it.
Star Wars like COVID mask that I was wearing or whatever. And she's like, I like your mask.
Did you get a chance to nerd out with them at all, or like just talk about the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that?
No, it was mostly just like, oh, what's your name? Like, I told them I'm like Dupree, like, like, oh, it's so cool to be here, and it's like it's such a cool scene, all the stuff, and then like we just went right back at it.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, hopefully that just leads to more things down the line. That's all. That's like nobody even knew who the armorer was until that was like but I found out that she actually played I called her Junkyard Kylo Ren, but was the
Oh,
Tuscan woman in the Book of Boba Fett. That was the same woman. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
uh, I think that's a no,
Is that not her?
that's a crazy. She's a stunt woman. I know what you're talking about.
Right, 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 right. Oh, wait, that's not the wait. What?
Mm-mm.
Okay, somebody somewhere down the line I put it I thought that that stunt woman was also in the Mandalorian as the armorer, but maybe I'm thinking
I
about
mean, she's
somebody.
an Mandalorian, but she doesn't do the art. She just does like all the crazy stunts for
Okay.
like other people. But I know what you're talking about.
Right, 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 right. Okay, never mind then. Never mind. Damn, I totally embarrass myself if I went up there and stuff. Okay, so and then I know you're on set now for some other projects and everything. Have the COVID
Mhm.
restrictions been lifted, or are you still wearing the
No,
mask?
that's
And
still
oh,
still going. We have to get COVID checked before we start work. So it's like I go like the day before, a couple day a day or 2 days before I go, and anytime on set, I'm always going off site to get COVID tested, and then we're wearing masks like when we go in, on set or around the actors and stuff.
man. Oh, that's gotta be
Even when you're doing scenes, even when you have lines, they still want you to, do it. Like wear the COVID mask and all that stuff.
wow. But I guess I could assume that at least you're gonna get a little bit more money. Um if you have lines and then you gotta come in later, if you're the one doing the voices, if you gotta come in later for the ADR, then I'm assuming you're making more money, but or maybe it's always that this is the way, no pun intended. But like if even old school Star Wars or old school when you're doing it on set, you're gonna have to come in for ADR anyways,
Hmm.
regardless. So okay, very interesting. In general, like we all know we've seen the famous scene with Hugh Jackman coming in and doing the ADR for Logan. He's up here running,
Hell yeah.
sweating. Oh my god, that thing is a great. So uh speaking of which, what do you think of recently the whole AI voice situation going on? Like I first started hearing about it when, the was it Obi-Wan with Obi-Wan, and
Yeah.
they were utilizing that was the first time Disney like finally admitted that they were using.
Yeah, that was when it's like, all right, we gotta tell them.
Yeah, exactly right. Cause I'm like, yo, ain't no way, ain't no way. His name escapes me right now, which is terrible. I'm blanking out right now, but James Earl Jones. Ain't no way this man is up here doing Obi-Wan right now. Like last time I saw him on
No.
film was Coming to America actually. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and he sounded like a 90-year-old James Earl Jones.
Exactly. And then, they were kind of using him for the Lion King. I'm like, he sounds tired, bro. Like, and I'm like,
They
there ain't
used him
no.
for Rogue One. He sounded old there.
Yep. 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 But which is fine, but like
Yeah.
So what is your opinion on the whole AI voice recreation thing, particularly within Star Wars, but just in projects in general? Do you think that that's something that is good for the industry, or better to move it on, pass it
I
on to?
mean, in certain cases like this, like like obviously we're not gonna have James Earl Jones forever, but Vader is the most profitable like well-known character. So it's like you have to have that go on. Like there's nobody else that can do that voice like him.
I see, I see. Well, but I would argue at the same time, the guy, the voice actor for he's been in the Clone Wars, but he was also in Fallen Order, the guy who did Darth Vader's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that was good. That was intimidating. I liked them like that. So, um
But Star Wars fans are so like we're so like everything has to be like perfect, and like that was perfect, but it was like, oh, okay, like how did they get him to sound young again? So that's why it's like that's how we all found out. But the other guy was like, okay, that's good, but it's not James Earl. Like that's all everybody wants. We just forever we just want him to be Vader.
Right, right. I get it. I get it. Luke Skywalker, first in
Hmm.
I guess really, really in Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
We got a chance to see that. What was your feelings on that?
I mean, it wasn't bad. It sounded. I didn't notice it sounded odd until people pointed it out, and then rewatches. But it is what it is. Like same thing. Mark Hamill doesn't sound like young Mark Hamill anymore either. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I personally would have just gone with, and this is just my opinion, but I would have just gone with a recast. But I also understand how the fanatics are just they just want it
the
to be
bastard
at
fan.
yeah, they just want it to be this way. It has to be it needs to be almost identical to the way out of Force Awakens. Actually Return of the Jedi, post Return of the Jedi, he needs to look exactly like the way he should be looking. And I'm just like, okay, but
I mean, it's like you even for Batman. Like imagine somebody tried to be like you know imagine somebody tried to be Kevin Conroy's voice, like try to redo it. It'd be like, no, it's not him. Like, don't even go there.
right, but I would also be open to the point of like, yeah, like we have so yes, there is only one Kevin Conroy, but there's also Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah,
We have other people doing the Bat voice, and in time I have grown accustomed to them doing it. So whatever the next project may be, um if it's not Kevin Conroy, like, yeah, oh my God, if they we were just talking about this earlier today, how the way AI is going, God, WB is the fact that the fact that Michael Keaton, 80-year-old Michael Keaton is basically the front runner for this Flash movie. That's the only reason people are even really paying attention and wanting to check this out. Just shows that WB, like even in the commercials, they're like the trailer, that's the focus. It's Batman 1989, not really the Flash. That just shows that WB is what one generation of AI away from reanimating Adam West, bringing back everybody. They're gonna get their multiverse of Batman movie one way or another.
yep.
So the
They're gonna
Bataverse
get
is
everybody.
coming. Yeah, they're gonna get everybody alive or dead. They're gonna come back some form or fashion. It's coming, man, because this AI is going faster than we can control it. I don't know if you heard that Michael Jackson singing the Weekend song and everything. That
Yeah, most of the new Michael songs aren't even Michael.
Yep. That is creepy how accurate though it sounds like, if you weren't
Mhm.
there, you just wouldn't know, honestly. You'd be like, "Oh, snap. He got this unreleased track going on, Tupac is next. It's happening, man." So, that's Star Wars in general. That's technology. All right. Well, we're wrapping up here. I think we covered everything that needed to be essentially talked about. Is there anything you can tell us about what you're working on right now?
Mm, I- uh, what? one thing I can say is I'm working on a Netflix Who Done It. Is all I can say.
A Netflix who done it. Okay, cool. That's awesome. And then in terms you don't have to answer, but are you working on more? You finished up this particular Star Wars project with the Mandalorian, but have you been invited to work on future projects?
Fingers crossed. I'm like hoping. I'm
Okay.
hoping like my agent and everybody are like, gunning for me to do more of these. So, we'll see. They got me on Marvel and now Star Wars. So
Pixar
hopefully more
next.
Star Wars. Yeah. Pixar
Exactly.
next.
Exactly. Pixar next. You got to get the
Hmm.
trifecta. You're coming after Sam Jackson, man. He's one of the only people that have gotten that trifecta there. Uh,
For real.
uh,
For
uh,
real.
where can where can people find out more about what you're working on and what you're doing?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Darth Vader 23 and the same thing on YouTube. Well, when I have time, like, do my updates.
That is true, right? Yeah, that I forgot you do have a YouTube channel. Actually, you occasionally update with
Who
your
doesn't have a YouTube channel these days?
that's the problem. That's why I'm not
Yeah.
making as much money anymore. Yeah. Anyways, any Star Wars comic? Are you going to any Comic Cons anytime soon this summer?
I'm debating going to San Diego Comic Con because that San Diego and Midsummer and costume is like Death March. So there's that possibility of that. But I'm trying to save my money, man. I'm trying to go Japan 2025 for celebration.
I was about to say, I was just about
Uh,
to say that's the
that's the
big
big
one.
one.
That is the big one there, but they are going to do it next year, right? 2024, but in London, right?
No, no.
What?
There's nothing happening next year. Like London just happened, and then next year nothing, and then after that is Japan.
Oh, snap. So they like the Olympics? They taking breaks like that? I didn't know
Well, they
that.
used to go every year, and then
Right.
sometimes they would wait like a few years, and now they're just, I guess because they figure, all right, well, London was really expensive. Now we're gonna have the nerds save up for Tokyo.
Okay. Wait, where is it normally? Like outside?
It's everywhere. I mean, it's usually here in the States. Like it's like my first one was in Anaheim in 2015. Then after that, it was in London, and then it came back to Florida, and I went to that one. Then it went to Chicago randomly.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and then back, and then COVID happened, and then back to Anaheim. So now it's I don't know. It's kind, yeah, it is kind of like the Olympics. They just randomly choose where they want to have it.
I mean, that's cool because by that time we should have by that time a new Star Wars movie should be coming out, right? By 20 is that the Ray one is coming out 2025? Or at least we should have a
Hopefully, like
trailer, right?
hopefully, because
Yeah.
we were supposed to get movies before, and like that was like a stumble with all that. So hopefully, we'll get some movies. But yeah, the Ray movie should be out or coming out around then.
Okay. God, I hope you can get on the acolytes. That would be freaking wait, did they put a trailer out for no, that was
Yeah,
Ahsoka, right? So they
actually, they did. It's just it was just at the con. Like it's
oh, oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, I didn't know anything about that other than what I saw in Ahsoka, but I'm just like, yeah, okay, okay, that'd be great if they could get you on there as well.
any
In your
Star Wars show. I don't care. I just want to be on it. Like I can be like random dude in the street walking with the back of my head. I don't care.
that's how Mace Windu started. I remember Samuel L. Jackson was like, please, George Lucas, put me in Star Wars. I don't care if I have to be Luke Skywalker's slave.
It's funny is like you were talking about Tupac earlier, and he took the role from Tupac.
What?
George
What?
Lucas wanted Tupac to be Mace
What?
Windu.
I didn't know that. Oh
He interviewed
wow.
him and everything.
Really? Tupac. Yeah, I mean that's one thing people don't really realize is that Tupac was a big nerd sometimes. Like he
Hmm.
was into the X-Men off camera. He used to talk about the mutants and X-Men comic books all the time. So that is wild. Mace Windu. Wow, that's
Mace Windu
Tupac.
Pac.
Windu. What's Just imagine, dude. Would he have to change his lightsaber color though? That'd be the big thing.
I feel like Sam Jackson was like, what regardless was always like the purple lightsaber. That was his thing. Like Tupac, it would just been a normal lightsaber, but
You think so? Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't
yeah,
have been red or blue or something like that. Crips,
nah, yeah.
something like that. Blood, son. Yep. So, so in your private time, do you actually have any chance to do cosplay stuff just for fun, or getting ready for conventions and showing off new stuff, or do you just usually just solely focus on the Darth Vader costume?
I mean, I do. It's just me. Like most everybody just knows me for like Vader stuff because been doing it forever and have a million Vader costumes. But I do other stuff. It's
Oh,
just I
okay.
just don't do much. Yeah.
Like what?
It's like I have like a Boba Fett costume, a Lando, I have a few stormtroopers.
That's right. I have seen your Lando
Uh,
Calrissian. Yeah, right, right, right. I see. I see. Have you seen the whole you've been the Galaxy's Edge, right? Of course,
hmm
right? Like I was very curious the way that they have. So maybe the voice commands on the stormtroopers, Kylo Ren, and all of that stuff. Is that
So
just pre? Is that a secret, or is that a pre?
it's like where is the first order? Blah blah blah. It's literally like they have little tap things and phrases that they have,
Got it, got it, got it,
whatever.
got it.
Yeah,
So it's all pre-programmed stuff in their fingers and such. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay. I have noticed, like, I was very curious because somebody was like, I used to, because in Japanese, interesting, instead of saying, we in Japanese generally we're gonna say omoshiroi. So when I'm doing reactions a lot, my first instinct is to be like, omoshiroi, omoshiroi, but I verbalize it in English as interesting, like that. But Kylo at Galaxy's Edge, he's always just like, a lightsaber. Interesting. And then people were like, oh my God, he sounds like Akasun. Like that. Interesting. Like that.
Interesting.
And so I was like, do I really sound like that? I'm like, oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Um,
Because the Kylo doesn't sound like Adam Driver. It sounds like somebody else at Galaxy's Edge for
Really,
sure.
I feel it's close enough though. I feel like it's essentially somebody
It's
trying
close
to
enough.
do
Yeah.
Adam Driver's, like, but they're trying to also make it their own at the same way, I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's close enough, just the same way as like the Captain America, Falcon Captain America is close enough to what the MCU version is, but it's still kind of their own as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Disney being Disney at the end of the day.
You can't go wrong with that, especially if you get on their payroll, man. You'll be everywhere, man.
Oh,
Well, well, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us tonight, man. And just it's good to see that you're doing well, man. It's good that you're further pushing the Star Wars agenda, like yourself into the MCU and into Star Wars, man. Sooner or later they'll be making a Vision story about you or something like that.
I I can't wait for whatever project comes my way. Like, best believe I'll be on it. Like, Vader costume on, whatever, some,
Just
afro
do
in
it.
hand, like, doing the
There you
thing.
go. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. You did have the half row in the season finale there. So
I did. They gave me a mohawk with braids.
that's that was their choice or you?
No, that was them. They like we're gonna do your hair because I'm like, why? Like, you have a scene with no helmet. I'm like, what?
Yes, nice. Nice. Yeah, I saw that, dude. I saw that. Like your
Yeah,
screenshots were
we're just like,
okay, but woo! When you go back and you watch that on 4K, oh my God, you can see you clear as day in there, dude. It's
mm.
great. It is really
They
great.
moved me so many times in that scene. At first, I was in the front, like right in front, like, as I happened. Then they moved me side, then behind, then around. They kept moving everybody to see like what best fit. But they always wanted me and this other guy with dreads. There was another dude like had like hair just like yours, like, and he was like a drummer.
I saw
right
him.
next to me the whole
I
time.
saw
Yeah.
I saw he actually showed up a few times, like
Hmm.
when walking around with Sasha
He's in
Banks.
episode 6.
Yep. And I was like, because I was gonna make a comment, I'm like, oh, it's me, but then I was like, nah, it's all right. It's
See, if
too on the
I
nose.
if I had like said yes and taken the job, I could have been in that whole scene.
That would have been nice, dude. That would have been nice, but it's okay. It's like
Yeah,
you just never know what will happen, man. That's the thing.
yeah.
Destiny is all. So, all right, you guys, make sure you check out the Darth Vader 23 here on Instagram and on YouTube and all of his other socials. I will go ahead and make sure, and of course, as a Comics Plus representative myself, I will, and you, the Red Dreaded Nation. Let's keep an eye on our boy Dupree here. Let's take a keep an eye on Darth Vader 23. This is the way. Let's get him up to that next level, into the MCU, into the Star Wars place. And of course, you guys have yourself a great Star Wars day as well. Whenever, this might go up the 4th. I don't know. It might go up the Revenge of the 5th. It might go up on the 6th. Who knows? It might go up earlier.
Return of the Sith.
Yeah, there you go. Return of the 6th. Exactly. Guys, this is Akasan signing off, and may the force be with you. This is the way.
Later.